everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I am Ama Mama, and it has been a while, so if you are still here, I really appreciate it. I was not really able to post anything for the past month. I just hadn't been feeling up to it. I did spend all of October and a few days of November in the hospital being treated for my leukemia, and I've been home for about 3 weeks, and I'm actually going back into the hospital tomorrow, which will be Monday. I'm going back into the hospital for another round of chemo, and I'll be there for about a week is my understanding, so hopefully it won't be longer than that. It's not going to be as intensive as the first round. So, and I won't, I'm not going to say too much, but if you are a little curious, like the first round of chemo was a lot more intensive. It involved getting chemo 24 hours a day for 7 days. The second round should not be as intensive. My understanding is it's going to be like 3 of the days that I'm there. For like a couple of hours in the morning, a couple of hours in the evening. So it shouldn't be as bad. And hopefully it is just a week hospital stay versus a month like the first one was. I did get some reading done while I was there. I didn't always feel like reading, so I did listen to the books that I had most of the time, just because it was not easy to read, so I didn't really read physically. I listened to the audiobooks, which was super helpful. I will talk about first the books that I did actually read. The first one I'm going to talk about is The Second Ending by Michelle Hoffman. And this one I had actually finished right before I went to the hospital, I believe, and I don't think hopefully this is not a duplicate. I don't think I've talked about this one yet, but basically this book is about Prudence, who was a childhood prodigy with piano, and then also Alexei, so it's Prudence Childs and Alexei Petrov. And Alexei was a Russian pianist who, worked hard. So they kind of had these different upbringings, and she's older than him. And there is a show that he hosts, which I don't remember what it was called, Dueling Pianos. I don't remember what the name of the show was, but he's got a popular Dueling Pianos like TV show. And they put out a contest, and they get Prudence to be part of the contest, and whoever wins is going to win $1 million. And there's a lot of like drama and things that happen, and there's other people involved and stuff. And I don't want to say a whole lot because I feel like it will give it away, but there is what I can say, because I think it's on, let me just see, I think it's on the back of the book. Basically, like a former husband of Prudence, she had been married once before her current marriage, comes back on the scene. And so he's trying to blackmail her. So that's one of the things that is going on, and that's on the back of the book cover. So that's not really a spoiler. It's just something that's key to the story. But this was surprising to me because I didn't fully. I don't know if I hadn't read the back of the book as well, or if it just hadn't clicked what was going on, but this book surprised me in that it was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. And for some reason, I think at first I thought it was going to be like some kind of full romance kind of story, and it's not. But it was well written. It had a lot of humor, and I don't know if it was my state of mind at the time or what, but there was a lot of stuff that made me feel pretty emotional while I was reading it, with the way that it was written and the situations that it kind of went around. So I would really recommend this book. It was really good. I had never heard of it before, but yeah, the second ending, I enjoyed this a lot, and it was definitely worth the read. I also read the Ferris Wheel Stories by C.P. Cabanis, and those were Worlds with Rubies, Falling Worlds, and Worlds Align. And each of these books is really, really short, almost like a longer short story or like a novella kind of thing, but they all go together. And the main character, Ruby, she has passed away. And again, I don't want to give anything away from the stories, but it's about her journey kind of in the afterlife. And they were really good. Like, they were just sweet little stories that all tied together. And they were just interesting. Like, the take that they gave on, life after death and everything, I think was probably one of the neatest kind of scenarios I've read before, because it was something new and kind of unexpected. And the fact that Ruby had this purpose even after she passed away just made it all very intriguing. So I would definitely recommend these stories. I got them on Kindle. I think they were all on Kindle Unlimited, if I recall. And so I do have a membership to that. So I read them all through my Kindle app, but they were really, really good. And again, they're not very long, so they didn't take, a long time to read. Each one maybe took a couple of hours to read, but I would definitely recommend them. They were really good. Then I read Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. And this is one that, because I was in the hospital and I was just having a hard time reading, I did listen to the audiobook of this, and it was really, really good. You are following Ellie Sinclair, and she is a songwriter, and she is nannying for Rafael Lopez, who they had actually gone to high school together, and she had a crush on him that he didn't realize she had a crush on him, but she is nannying for him. And, and so it is a romance, and there's a lot of drama because she is feeling attracted to him. She doesn't think that he even likes her. And it was a fun book. There was some spice to it that, honestly, some of it I kind of skipped over, just because, one, I was listening to it, being in the hospital, and, having it playing out loud. I don't know. I didn't have my headphones with me or anything. And so, it felt a little bit awkward just in case nurses or somebody came in. So there were parts that I kind of skipped. So I can't really speak to how spicy it was, but I will say that it didn't overtake the book. I definitely have had books. I've never read anything by Lauren Asher before, but I've definitely had books where I have had to skip pages and pages because it's just too much spice for me. And this, it wasn't like that. I remember skipping ahead a little bit, or turning the volume down for the little bit at ends of chapters, but it wasn't bad. The characters I felt were really well written. I really, it's a pretty thick book, which I enjoyed because I felt like I got to know everybody really well. And I really liked, what was his son's name? I don't remember the son's name now, but I really liked the son as well, because his character was really believable. And so anyways, it was a really good book. I would definitely recommend this as well. And I will read other works by Lauren Asher because this was really good. I enjoyed it. And then the last thing that I read / listened to was The Black House by Stephen King and Peter Straub. And this is the sequel to The Talisman, which I read recently. And in The Talisman, there's a young boy who is, and I'm not going to go into too much, but there's a young boy who is able to travel in between not realities, in between, I don't know, worlds that are different than ours, but like in the same timelines kind of. But so he's trying to save his mom as well as a young princess. And people have what they call twinners. And so anyways, so The Talisman is about that and about him trying to get this talisman and save the world in multiple worlds. So this book is actually after he is all grown up and he has kind of repressed the memories of what happened when he was a kid and kind of chalked them up to imagination and stuff, and has chosen to kind of forget about what has happened. But there is a serial killer who is killing children, and some of the stuff was kind of graphic, but so he comes back. He's a police officer, so he comes back to help solve the crimes, and it turns out they are also related to other worlds, and so like his things happen so that he ends up traveling again and stuff. So it's the sequel to that. What I will say is that I did enjoy the last half of the book, but the first like 250, 300, 350 pages, somewhere in there, like a big chunk. I mean, it was a lot of the book. I had a really hard time with, I mean, like, yeah, at least half of it. I had a really hard time with it because the writing style and everything, it didn't feel the same. And so I don't know how the book was written between the two of them. Like, I don't know if Peter Straub wrote part of it and then Stephen King wrote part of it, but the point of view and I don't know, just the first half of the book I was having a really hard time with. And I think the only thing that got me through it was the fact that I was listening to it instead of reading it. I think if I had been physically trying to read it, I might have even DNF'd the book because I just wasn't enjoying the first part of the story with how it was written. But because I was listening to it and I could listen to it sped up, it allowed me to, do other things while I was listening. And then when I got to that second half of the book, then the writing style felt more like I was used to. And that's why I said, I don't know how it was split up or how they wrote it, but to me, it almost had felt like maybe Peter Straub had written the first part of the story and then Stephen King came in with the second half that really followed up on The Talisman. And maybe that was the other thing too. It kind of felt disconnected because it says, it's the sequel to The Talisman, but the first half of the book, you wouldn't really know that. And if you hadn't read The Talisman, like, I don't know, it felt very disjointed. So I had a hard time with that. So as much as I wanted to rate this book very highly, because if I remember correctly, I think I gave The Talisman 5 stars. I only gave this one like 3.5 because of the first part of the book. The second half of the book was really, really good. I enjoyed, what happened and how the story went and everything. So, it's still worth reading if you've read The Talisman, but just be aware that you might have a hard time with the first part of the book. So that is what I read in October. I don't really have a TBR for November just because with my cancer, I don't know how much I'm going to read or what I'm going to read. I kind of want to try to read at least one or two kind of Christmassy romance stories if I can. I may rely on, audiobooks. There's an Alex Cross Christmas book that might be interesting. So I don't really know what I'm gonna read for this month, but I'm gonna try to read something. I also don't know if I'll be posting, weekly. Just my energy level has been down, and so I don't always have the energy to do a whole lot. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure how often I'll post. So I may not post anything again for a while. And plus, since I'm reading slower and everything, but I hope y'all stick around and, will watch my videos. I'm gonna, hopefully I'll at some point, I don't know how long my treatments are. I know that I've got at least 2 or 3 more rounds of chemo to do, and I think they're about a month apart. So, I definitely have a good amount of chemo that I need to do, but I'm hoping at some point I'll be able to get back on a regular posting schedule again, and be able to be reading more and doing more videos just because I enjoy doing it. So I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.